Welcome to the Connor's Corner segment of Ask the Lawyer. Right now we have a truly remarkable man, member of the United States Forces, Major Ivan Castro. How you doing today, sir?
I am doing great, sir. Thank you for having me.
Now you have a book out. It's not just about your experiences, but a lot of things happened to you over the years. How long have you been in the service now?
I've been in the service for 28 years.
September 2006, Iraq. What happened?
On September 2nd, to be precise, I was on an observation post on the top of a rooftop in a place called Yusufia, Iraq. We had just taken over that position the night before, and days leading to it, we had been engaged with the enemy. And it was a place that I didn't want my man. I was a platoon leader for a sniper and scout platoon, and we had been engaged and lost a group of men in that same corner of the compound we had occupied. And I got on the rooftop, told my guys, hey, let's get off. This is a bad location. I want to put you guys in a better overwatch position. And as I got up and looked around and selected a new location, went to go pick up the hand mic to call my boss in and let him know that we were going to move, mortar rounds came in, and one landed right next to me, about 5 feet to my left, and left me severely injured, but also killed 2 men in my unit.
You're severely injured. What's happening to you after that?
Immediately after, obviously, I was knocked unconscious under enemy fire. My men that were inside the building, they jumped onto the rooftop and pulled me off, applied first aid, and they really continued on with the fight. A moment later, I was medevaced to Balad, Longstool, Walter Reed, and finally Bethesda Naval Medical Center. And there, after several weeks in ICU, came to, and I was told the extent of my injuries. You know, I had lost my index finger. My right eye was totally blown out of my face. My nose was crushed. My right cheekbone, a fragment went into my left eye and damaged the optic nerve and the retina, in which case left me blind, completely blind out of both eyes. I suffered a bilobe aneurysm of the left vertebral artery. My lungs collapsed, pulmonary embolism, open bone fracture of the left humerus, and torn deltoid, and open wounds throughout my body. But part of the hardest thing was losing 2 men in my unit, and that was pretty tough there. To include the other 2 that we lost the days before.
You're blind, you suffer all these injuries. I think it would be pretty easy at that point to be in despair.
It is, Mike, but I can tell you that I came to realize that I still had men deployed at the time. I was still married, and I had a son, and I was a leader, and still am, and I had men looking up to me, and I couldn't quit. It's part of our warrior ethos: never quit, never surrender, never accept defeat, never leave a fallen comrade. And it was easy to quit. To be honest with you, those days following the news that I was blind, it was trying to find and have hope of what to do. And I went through my struggles of sadness, depression, survivor's guilt. I lost my faith in the Lord and everyone else, and I really wanted to throw the towel in. And it wasn't until days later I realized that I still had men deployed, and they were looking up to me, and I had a lot of family and friends, and I had a son that I had that I was still his father, so I was still a husband, and no matter what, the life was still going to continue with or without me. And I just had to continue moving forward for everyone around me.
Continue on. What was happening? You're still on active duty today, correct?
Believe it or not, I just retired a few days ago. So
congratulations!
I'm starting a new chapter in my life. Thank you so much. That was traumatic on its own, I think, for anybody retiring. But after retiring, after 28 years of doing things you love, so I always say, I've said lately, 10 years ago, my barrel was no longer in the fight. But now, not being able to lace my boots up and don my beret and zip up my uniform, it's going to be tough. Or being that I'm still here in the Fort Bragg area, seeing soldiers jump out of planes and hearing the machine gun fire and artillery, it's a somber moment. But I'm sure I'll move on.
But what started your road back to recovery?
I was laying in the bed, and I had no clue of what or the blind can or could not do. And I had overheard a Navy nurse and a resident comment on the Marine Corps Marathon, and I've always ran at high school, college, and obviously we do a lot of that in the military. And I said to myself, well, I'm not sure if I'm capable of running a marathon being blind, and not certainly not in the conditions I was in. But I told my resident, hey, you know what? I'm going to run that marathon next year, and I trained hard for it, really hard. I had to make some changes, obviously, to my diet, and physical therapy, occupational therapy, resistance, cardiovascular, and I took it very serious. And obviously, with everything that I do, I try to strive to achieve my goals, and that was the first thing I was going to do, being blind, and actually I did. I was the only blind person to run the Marine Corps Marathon out of, I think, 33,000 people that year, and I did well, and I just caught the bug, and ever since I've continued to run. I've done over 60 marathons and 250 milers, and been able to cycle across America. And several years ago, I was able to ski to the South Pole with some other injured service members and Prince Harry. So just try to live life to the fullest and continue to serve in a different capacity than what I did before. I was a Green Beret and loved to deploy, just because I loved my team and loved to do the mission. But now once again, having the Lord in my side, I think I have a new mission to serve, and it's to serve the men and women of the regiment and their families, and anyone else I could help. Absolutely.
So what are you going to be doing now that you're retired? I know you're going to try to help, but how are you going to try to help?
Well, I have a nonprofit, and the name of the nonprofit is called Special Operators Foundation. I help with a number of nonprofits. The biggest, the next chapter that I have going on right now is Prince Harry and the Dukes and Duchess of Cambridge have asked me to take part in a challenge called Heads Together. It's a campaign to help mental health, and the money that we raise here stays here. The money that's raised in the UK stays out there. So I'm going to run Boston, and then the same week I'm going to fly out and run London all in 1 week, 2 marathons in 1 week. And so that's one project I'm going to be doing in April. And then my next biggest project is I already went to the South Pole, and I'd love to take a number of injured guys to the North Pole, and that's my goal for April of 2018, is to take a number of injured service members to ski to the North Pole.
You wrote a book concerning your experiences. The name of it is Fighting Blind. Why did you write the book?
First, I want to tell you the title, Fighting Blind, and that is we came up with that title, Jim DeFelice and I. Who also helped me write the book. I believe that every day we all have our own cross to carry, and we don't know how heavy our cross is until we look to the left or right or to our front. And when our alarm clock goes off in the morning, we wake up, that we all have a choice or an option to get up and how we're going to start our day. And it's not easy for me. I'm sure it's not easy for a lot of people, but it's that fight, and it's the struggles of every day that we have. And I stay in the fight. I was in a fight before, and I continue to be in the fight. Some days the battle is easy. Some days it's pretty tough. But as we always say, we always lean forward on the foxhole, and we always charge. So that's what I choose to do. The book is about, obviously, it's a memoir. It's about my life, 28 years and before. But it also shows how diverse our military is. It talks about the units I've served in, different deployments that I've been at, whether it's Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Bosnia, Albania, Kosovo, South and Central America, Afghanistan, and Iraq. And it just talks about how diverse our mission is. But it also talks about the sacrifice, the struggles, the service. It talks about not only of the men, but also their families, and how I was injured and my recovery.
Very good. God bless you. The name of the book, Fighting Blind, A Green Beret's Story of Extraordinary Courage. Thank you very much for being in on a show, Major Castro, and good luck in your retirement years.
Well, thank you, and I hope you enjoy the book, and I look forward to be back on the show.
Very good. We look forward to that, too.